night once again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the DotPro special here. We are going to be doing our coverage of the TI, of course, TI7 happening. BreakyCPK here, and going to be doing a daily recap of sorts. I figured this is simple enough to do. Maybe last a good 15 minutes or so, around there, 10 to 15 minutes. So nothing too long here for these snippets, but just a nice source for you guys to get kind of caught up on what happened the previous day and what to look forward to on the coming day. You know, being that I'm here with really everyone else from .p actually, talk about our experiences, having a good time, and try to get you that feeling of being here, what it is like to be at such an epic event. So. Now, in the future recordings of this, hopefully I'll be able to be joined by Z-Rock. Z-Rock is actually flying in later today. I'm doing this the morning of day number 2 here. So he's going to be flying in later today. Going to look forward to hanging out with him. I've actually never met him in person before. Just like really most other people here at this event with me. This is my first year really involved in the Dota 2 scene. I say most other people. I mean, okay, so to be fair, I have met a lot of people. Obviously, when it comes to the talent and stuff, I've even worked alongside of them. A lot of the players coming from Han and everything. What I meant was more the .p side of things. Grouty was the only person I've actually met in person because he happens to live pretty close to me in good old Michigan there. Near where I live in Kalamazoo. I think he lives like an hour away or so. So we actually met up once, had some drinks, had some dinner. That was fun. Nice little date night with my wife joining. He was the third wheel, you could say. No, but that was fun. So, but other than that, I've never actually met anyone in person from .p, and now I'm glad I have. I've pretty much met everyone I want to say. I think Proud is the only one maybe I haven't ran into yet here at the event, but everyone from your Cindy, Cyphus, Roland, of course, and the whole crew have been able to meet up with. You gotta hang out. We obviously gotta sit in our section. What was 222 up there? I'm sure you saw the pictures. They're somewhat nosebleed seats to an extent, but at the same time, you could argue that they're some of the best seats in the stadium. Honestly, with how the theater set up, or not the theater, the arena set up with the big monitor, the big screen in the middle that, of course, has 4 ways so everyone around the arena can watch it. I got a couple of different perspectives. Earlier on in the day, I was actually down in one of the bottom aisles there with my sweet little press pass that I got, some special access there. Frankly, it's not a lot of special access. The only thing, I was allowed to go to this press area near the bottom of the arena, and they have these like tables set up that you can kind of set your laptop at and stuff. So I figured I would check that out, and turns out not really that good of an idea, because yes, it's kind of nice, being that close, and you're like really close to the arena, which is cool, and you're close to the player booths, and so you get a little bit closer perspective in that sense. But then my neck, I realized I was tweaking my neck like crazy, because you're literally like looking almost straight up, it feels like, at this huge screen above you, and I did not like it. I made a point, I think I watched one of the games down, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this again. So I went back up later on, but honestly, I would say most of the matches I ended up watching outside, frankly. So again, this is my first time to a TI in Seattle, at least. As I've said before, technically I was at the first TI. That was at Gamescom in Germany there, in Cologne, Germany. But I wasn't really there for TI, to be fair. I was there for, of course, Heroes of Newerth. We were running a booth there, and they just happened to be running what was then TI1 at the time. So, but going back to my point, though, I've never been to TI in Seattle. I have been to Seattle before, and I've actually been around Key Arena. I've been to the Space Needle a couple times, so I'm somewhat familiar with the area, but it's definitely a different thing when you have now all these setups around where are incorporating the TI event as a whole, right? So they have the whole lawn area, which is basically the first area that I ended up hanging out at, the quad lawn area, whatever you want to call it. Beautiful lawn area with a lot of room to just sit in and just chill. Even without the setup there, it'd be just a nice place to go for, to have a lunch, bring a nice little blanket, you get your lunch pail. It's a great date place. But hell, it still could be with Dota 2 going on. My wife is actually going to be joining me Wednesday here, and we may do something like that. We'll see. But going back to my point, though, again, I know I'm kind of rambling on, guys, but I'm really trying to get you, again, the cool idea of what it's like being here. But So on the outside lawn area, they then have this huge monitor setup. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it if you've been looking for it. I've posted several myself. I know many have. It's this huge setup that it's really good definition too. Usually when you're outside like that, you would figure like glare could be an issue or anything. No, you're able to see it pretty crystal clear in my opinion, and it's really cool that they're able to get that set up. So one of the games earlier on, in fact, the first series, that was Liquid versus IG? Yeah, Liquid versus IG. I think one of the games, or a couple of the games I even watched from there, the first two games I want to say even, after I met up with Cyphus and Roland outside and got some lunch there as I flew in yesterday, earlier on in the day. Cool having that set up, but then I noticed there was like an overlook area, I guess you could call it. There was... At the end of the lawn area, there was what they had, the secret shop over there, actually. So, of course, you can do your shopping for any of the secret shop stuff that you want. And, you can pick up your special goodie bag, I guess you get for having the passes, whether it's midweek or even the finals pass there. I still need to do that, actually. So later on, I'll be doing that here. But I saw like at the top there was some seating and stuff, but no one was really there. So I kind of made a point. I was like, I'm just kind of curious to check it out. So I go up there, and they have a couple of tents set up. One's for like an autograph tent, I guess, and another one with like some exhibition going on. I don't know, it seemed like some kind of virtual reality. I'm not exactly sure. But then I noticed, like, again, all this like lounging area, and no one was in it. So I kind of walk up to, there's a guy standing at the entrance to it, and I'm like, what was this about? He's like, oh, this is the beer garden. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I mean, are we allowed in? He like looks at me, he's like, yeah, we actually just opened. You want in? I'm like, sure. Okay. So I go in and, kind of just walking around, and I was like, holy shit, this is nice. The view is actually really cool. Being able to just chill, and actually ended up grabbing a beer there. And they actually have the beers. It's from some local brewery, I want to say, in Seattle. But they have, an IPA, Pilsner, a couple other ones. And they're all labeled after a Dota 2 hero. I think there's like a Queen of Pain one and Invoker one and a couple others. But point being, I grabbed a beer, and it was actually a really good price. Only $5 for the beer. So... not bad. But I grabbed a beer, watched one of the games from up there. I think it was game 3 of that series, Liquid versus IG. And I ended up going up there a couple of more times throughout the day, hanging out with some people. And it got much busier, of course, as the day went on, as expected. And near the end there, it was pretty packed. But I expect that to be a very popular area. And then, of course, there's the arena itself, which, like I said, it's a really cool setup inside the arena too. You got the walk around the whole arena itself on the kind of the outskirts of the seating area, and that's where they actually have the setups for the panel. They have obviously the North America, the English stream panel in one location. They have that China stream panel, another location, then CIS Russia, whatever, in its own location on that outside right there. So. And then one other thing, actually, that was really cool that I found out about. Again, I'm sure you tuning in, you probably even knew this already, but you actually get the ability with your pass. I'm holding my pass right now as I'm talking about this. And you actually scan it when you go in, and what that does is not only makes a point. It's like, yes, I have a valid pass, but it actually logs you in to be eligible for loot. So like if you're watching a game online in the client, you're eligible to get loot with drops, whether it's first blood, multi-kill streak, whatever it may be. And, it like randomly gives out loot based on, just whatever happens. That actually happens to the people in person as well as a result of this too. So that was really cool. And that, it's like, that's a fun idea. And there's this good friend of mine, Rotnam. He's actually at the event as well. And he had mentioned like, yeah, he got loot from like a previous TI, and he ended up selling it for like multiple pieces of loot for like $500+. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I didn't think much of it though, but lo and behold, the first game I go and watch, I ended up getting loot. I get an email about it, and it's like, hey, you want a chest? I'm like, oh, this is cool. I check it. It's already selling on the store for like $120. It was, the Crimson something chest? I'm not even exactly sure on the name of it now that I'm talking about it here. So I got to pull it up real quickly. But I get this chest, and I'm like, I want to sell this. I actually made a tweet about it. I was like, do I sell this, guys? And everyone's like, yeah, sell it. So I go to sell it. Unfortunately, it turns out that if you do not have an authenticator on your account with your phone like app set up to authenticate, every time you log into Steam or whatever for security reasons, you actually have to turn that on to be willing to sell stuff on the marketplace. And if you haven't had it within the last like 7 days or something like that, you then have to have a hold period of up to 15 days, I think it is, with the item. So unfortunately, I couldn't sell the item just yet, but from what I've been hearing, it could even get like better price as the event goes on or as the weeks pass by. So it's really not that big of a deal, I guess. But part of me is like, do I even want to sell it now? I mean, Steam bucks are cool, but it's not real money here. I guess technically there are ways to convert it into real money if you really wanted to be fair. But the point is, I thought that's kind of a cool feature, and it definitely makes you want to go into the arena and watch even that much more of the games there. So I was kind of like watching for that throughout the day. And unfortunately, I didn't get any other treasure, but we're just beginning. With that in mind, we are just beginning, guys. So again, for these daily recaps, I don't plan to take too long, kind of describing the day in that full there. But this being the first day, I wanted to get and can give you an idea of how it kind of played out. So, but now let's get into the nitty gritty. Now let's get into the actual matches themselves. So we ended up having what was 6 different series in total yesterday. We had the 2 of the upper bracket matches, of course, Liquid versus IG, and the Newbie versus EG. And then we had all the loser bracket matches, best of ones, elimination matches for those 4, or I guess 8 teams right there technically, 4 of them being eliminated. So we were going to go from 16 to 12 just after the first day right here, which again is really crazy, especially being best of ones. But that's the format, and that's you gotta make your plays. That really kind of goes back to the point. I mean, the group stages was very important. I think we definitely kind of realized that even that much more. Being at the main event now, you kind of like, yeah, getting top 4, that's a big deal. Look at the first series. Liquid versus IG is what kicked it all off. Liquid actually, again, one of the favorites in a lot of people's minds, in my mind as well. With how they looked in the group stages, this is no doubt a matchup we saw going Liquid's favor. I think Xerox and I both actually suggest that in our podcast going into the main event right here. Not so much. In fact, the first game, IG made quite the statement, coming out strong. And they ended up running Alchemist. I believe, did OP play the Alchemist? I think, yeah. I believe their mid player OP. Yeah, he ended up going 10-0-9 in Alch. He just got completely out of control and rolled over the game against Liquid. So, our first game, about a 30-minute victory in favor of IG, and everyone's like, whoa, what is this about? Liquid off to a slow start, maybe the nerves kind of getting to them. They ended up coming back. They bounced back in the second game behind some Miracle Monkey King. Again, this core Monkey King, we've been seeing some of these teams bust out throughout the group stages and now into the main event here. He ended up doing fairly well, but I think game 2 was actually more about mind control and Bristleback and even Ursa in the hands of Matoma Man. Got the start they were looking for. They once again played against Alchemist in the hands of OP, but this time they were able to control them a lot more in the earlier game. And again, it just got to a point where their tri-core of Bristleback, Ursa, as well as the Monkey King ultimately got too much to handle and were able to push in. But I will say, even that game 2, IG had chances to win it. It's not like they completely rolled over them. It's about a 42-minute victory for Liquid, but there was definitely good points in that game where, in fact, I'm looking at the graph right here on Dota Buff. At about the 35-minute mark, it actually dipped into favor of, wait. Oh, no, what am I saying? Oh, wow, yeah, so it was actually, net worth-wise, it was in favor of IG the whole game. Like, literally the whole game, other than a very, very small snippet, about 35 minutes in, it was slightly in favor of Liquid. Now, again, we are talking about an Alchemist here, who naturally is going to give his team that much of an advantage. But, I mean, there were points where about 25, 30 minutes into the game, they were up 12,000 net worth. IG had good chances to win this game. And even at the very end, IG, despite losing, they were up 10,000 net worth about 2 minutes before the game ended. So, again, point being, this was a game that IG definitely could have won, but Liquid held on and took game 2. Then you got game 3. And again, it went back to IG just looking really strong. And XXS here for IG, he is quickly becoming one of the better known offlaners, and for very good reason. His performance on Earthshaker, and honestly, a lot of people weren't talking about this, but I really think the performance of Q playing Disruptor as well, fantastic. Basically, the supporting cast of IG, in a lot of ways, seemed to carry them to victory in game number 3. But XXS especially, he was just landing Echo Slams like crazy, getting solo kills. He went 13, 2, and 10 on an off-lane Earthshaker. 13, 2, and 10. This guy just dominated in a lot of ways. And, the supporting cast in general, too, like I said, Q actually, on Disruptor, he was stacking camps like crazy for the Sven in this case that they had. And also, one last thing that was kind of interesting about the matchups here. Now, to be fair, so they ended up drafting a Lone Druid, and then they went final pick Ember Spirit in the hands of Miracle. They ended up laning the Ember in the safe lane because it was Alina that they were going up against in the hands of OP, and they knew it at the time. And even the casters were talking about it. It's like, that's not a friendly matchup for Ember Spirit. So they went with the Lone Druid, and then there was the talk of would they go a ranged Lone Druid build. Matama Mando known for his bear builds, and he stuck to that, even despite having a Faceless Void on the team. So this was, it says, a very heavy melee team. They had a Faceless Void, a Ember Spirit, and a bear build Lone Druid with a Slaughter and Ancient Apparition was their whole lineup. It seemed a little funky. So they really had no range presence, especially with that Chronosphere coming out. The draft seemed a little off, but IG, they looked like the IG of old of sorts. What we saw really with the KF Major and back when they won the what was this, Dota 2 Asian Championships, I want to say. Back when they looked very, very strong as the point. So point is IG, 2-1 victory there. It could have been 2-0, honestly. They looked really good. So off the bat, we had quite the upset right there to kick things off. Obviously, being here in Seattle, I mean, there's a fair amount of Chinese fans, so there's definitely some cheering going on, but you could definitely tell, especially I was watching that from the outside, like I said, and the reaction was kind of like, whenever Liquid would make a play, there's a lot of cheering going on, but understandably, there's a bit more Liquid fans here, at least from my perspective. Now we move to EG versus Newbie. Really not much to say about this series other than Newbie, similar to IG, looked dominant in a lot of ways. And I actually got some notes right here. This is a series that I was actually watching from inside the arena there. So in game 1, EG tried to run, they tried to do some rat strategy with Nature's Prophet as well as Timbersaw in the hands of Arteezy, which in itself is a little bit, a bit of a head scratcher, but they ended up having to resort to trying to rat the victory right there, but Newbie didn't let it happen. They ended up going for tier 4 and ultimately took out the Ancient in the end and won the game as a result of that. But again, really most of the game they were in control. Disruptor, again, a case here where in a lot of ways, I think Disruptor is kind of appearing to be an MVP hero, especially in that support role in the main event so far. Because even in some of the elimination matches, we saw him and once again doing very well. And I don't know what it is, but it's just, I was actually talking about it with a couple people, why a hero like Disruptor all of a sudden, just makes these appearances. And I think he's one of those low latency heroes where when you're playing in this LAN environment where everyone is on the same ping, you don't have to worry about those ping advantages. Getting that static storm off ASAP is so crucial. And, that 0.2 seconds could make the difference with whatever lag that you may have. So, maybe it's because of that, maybe getting that glimpse off, that much quicker, things like that. It just naturally builds up the hero that much better playing in a LAN environment. So, Disruptor played very well for Newbie there. Naga in the hands of Zai. EG's been running the support Naga quite a bit throughout this event. He didn't have some good ultimates, and I say that with a almost surprised as I'm sure you can sound. I'm a huge Zai fan, as a lot of people are, but he had some songs that were like, what was that? It's those kind of awkward situations, and his teammates were still dying. It just seemed like that things were not connecting. Game 1, a pretty easy victory, felt like overall for Newbie. In game 2, I like how it kicked off with Samel. He said, good luck, SCCC, at the beginning. So, Samel being Samel, having some fun. SCCC responded, just a good luck to Samel himself. So, there's some trash talk going on, and it's some passive-aggressive, I guess you could say. It was actually, what was the matchup there? Now that I mentioned that. Samel was playing Queen of Pain, and No, SCCC was playing Queen of Pain. Sumail was playing Necro. That's right. Yeah, Sumail on Necrophos. Not a hero we see him on all too often. In this game, though, EG definitely looked better than they did in game number one. Universe actually playing his Enigma here, and he hit some huge black holes, and the crowd would go wild, and it was some good stuff right here. But the game finished crazy. This was probably the best finish so far. It was the best finish so far the first day, and arguably we're going to see one of the biggest plays of this whole event, a main event. If you have not seen the clip of this play by Baboka's Earth Spirit at the very end, so there basically EG was pushing in. Newbie had just expended a lot of buybacks to try to finish the game themselves. It failed. So EG was trying to counter now with being like, okay, they don't have buybacks, let's go. They caught Bristleback. They went to take him out. A black hole was used. The Necrophos Scythe was coming out, and all of a sudden he doesn't die, despite being like a third life. And everyone's like, wait, what? And then you realize that Baboka stone formed him and pushed him back all the way to his fountain to keep him alive, completely disrupting the fight that EG had right there to take out Bristleback. Because, again, Bristleback dies right there. He has no buyback. He's dead for good 120 plus seconds, especially with the Scythe. And that could have been a chance for EG to try to finish the game themselves right there and force a game 3. But Baboka saved him. They ended up winning the fight in the end as Bristleback came back in, and EG ended up losing it 2-0. So China in general, despite what I was kind of predicting going into this event, off to a very strong start. We have IG versus Newbie is going to be our upper bracket round 2 matchup, and that'll take place on day 3, I believe. They do get a little bit of a break here. Yeah, looking at it right now. So those are the 2 upper bracket matches. As far as our lower bracket goes, our loser bracket, again, best of ones, 4 different games. Secret versus Execration. It went pretty much as expected, and I remember watching that draft there. Secret drafted very, very comfortable heroes. And in a best of one, when you're the favorite team especially, you do that. So I was glad to see that. They gave mid 1 TA, they gave MP Phantom Lancer, Yapsor Rubik, Keizu Batrider, and then Puppy ended up playing a Witch Doctor, which he plays, occasionally. So it showed they were the dominant team. They were the better team. They deserve to move on. So Execration eliminated, your first team to be eliminated in the main event. Cloud9 versus Empire. As we expected, we got a pretty long match. I made a joke at the beginning of this game. The over-under on this game lasting 90-plus minutes, because these two teams are known for playing long games. Cloud9 on average, and Team Empire, of course, have that 2-plus hour game in the group stages, and also in the regional qualifiers, they win 2-plus hours. It went over an hour, but just barely over an hour. As, sorry, my light in my room actually just went out, guys. Not sure what that was about. It almost seems like my power just went out. Now it's back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure my hotel room just had a power hiccup. Yeah, that's kind of another story of which I don't want to get too lost in, but Jesus Christ, I really wish I put more money into a nicer hotel. I'm staying about 20-minute drive away, so I have to take an Uber every day to and from the event there, to Key Arena. But, the main reason we did this was because to ideally save some money, which we definitely did. We're getting what we paid for. I'll say it that way. So, but man, this hotel is one of those just crummy hotels. It's a Nights Inn hotel is the name of it, and it's basically like a Motel 6 of sorts. It's doable. I only plan to spend, mainly sleeping here. But let's just say in the future, I'll probably put a little bit more money into maybe more of an upgrade. Anyways, back to the point. So Cloud9 versus Empire went over an hour long. Cloud9, Jackie Mao, aka Eternal Envy, he ended up drafting final pick Arc Warden, putting everything on Arc Warden here, a hero that he was spamming in pubs for the last 2+ weeks going into TI. So you kind of just knew that this was going to happen. And they did win a group stage match with him playing it, to be fair. That's he did the Eternal Envy thing. He went for a bit of a risk. It almost paid off, but it didn't in the end. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. Once again, Disruptor had some really big plays. In this case, for Empire, in the hands of Miposhka. their leader there. Miposhka actually, landed some big static storms, some nice glimpses. FN actually went off this game on Queen of Pain, 14-2-12 performance from him. But Resolution, man, he is proving time and time again to be one of these better carry players, and he's been around for a while, so again, this shouldn't be surprising, but to be able to step into a team like Empire, who frankly wasn't necessarily expected to do that well at this event in general, they were expected to be one of these lower tier teams. Not surprising that they moved on in the main event, but, I don't think many people saw them getting past a team like Cloud9 especially. They did it, and they deserved it. Resolution with Faceless Void carry, 11-0-18. He wrecked this game himself as well. This was overall a very clean game. For the most part, there were some sloppy fights, but it seemed like Empire, just as odd as this may sound, they were the more coordinated team this game. And Eternal Envy, he actually got some decent farm on Arc Warden, as you would expect, but it proved not to be enough in the end. So Cloud9, your second team knocked out. Again, surprising, I'm sure, for a lot of people, including myself. This is a team that I could have seen having a deep run, but they never really got it connecting as far as this lineup went, it seems like. So we'll see where they end up. But Empire advancing on. So by the way, that sets up Secret versus Liquid now, which is going to happen later today. And then Evil Geniuses will now play Empire. Again, it's all best of 3 all the way out from here until the grand finals, where of course it will be best of 5. OG versus Infamous, another surprising losers bracket matchup with OG especially, but it did go as expected, similar to Secret Execration. OG dominated Infamous, really wasn't any chance. Again, OG, same thing as well, kind of picked this comfortable lineup. Now, they went a little bit off, they gave S4 Brewmaster, which he's done before, but I was a little worried there. They went Chaos Knight for No-Tail. They gave Ana Invoker, though, and you give Ana Invoker, your win percentage seems like it does go up quite a bit. And it proved to be here. They dominated this game. They were the better team. They move on. We don't know their opponent yet. They play the loser of TNC versus LFY. And then Digital Chaos versus IG was the final match of the night. Another case of actually, again, this was one of those which way is going to go. DC dominated. They wrecked. They drafted Abed Death Prophet, which isn't the flashiest of heroes, but he finished the game 12-2-4. And they got a 33-minute victory over IG Vitality. So IG Vitality, the first Chinese team to actually be knocked out of the event here at TI7. But Digital Chaos moving on to now the top 12 here and, guaranteeing themselves that much more money. They play the loser of Virtus Pro versus LGD, which, again, will be happening later on today. So those are the matches that took place yesterday. LFY versus TNC, LGD Virtus Pro are today, as well as Secret versus Liquid, and then EG versus Empire to finish this. So we got 4 best of 3s now today. All very good matches. As far as what I'm looking forward to, I think Secret versus Liquid has potential to be the most entertaining series of the day and the most which way will this go, right? Because yes, Liquid is a team that a lot of people had high hopes for, especially not only going into the event, but after the group stages, finishing first. But getting knocked down for IG, that has to be a blow to their confidence. And again, that could have even been 2-0. Secret is a good enough team, no doubt, to give competition to Liquid. I think Liquid is the favorite here in this series, but Secret, by all means, could win this series. So I see that going either way. LFY, with how they looked, I'm confident they'll beat TNC. As much as I love TNC, I just don't know if they have the firepower in them. I would like to see it. Last thing I want to see is all these Chinese teams in the top 4, because we could potentially have a top 4 China competition here with Invictus Gaming Newbie happening, and LFY could be playing LGD in the upper bracket semifinals as well, if they get past Virtus Pro, of course. Now, again, Virtus Pro, I would expect to move on there as well, but LGD, they showed many glimpses of being very, very strong in the group stages, so it could go either way there. And then EG versus Empire, I think it's safe to say the road for Empire will end here. The run of Resolution stepping in, I just do not see them getting past EG. That's the most certain one for sure that I am as far as the 4 series that are happening today. So I got EG. I would lean towards Liquid, although I would not be surprised if Secret wins. I got Virtus Pro over LGD, and then I have LFY over TNC. All right, guys. Day number 2 is upon us here. I'm going to be heading over to the venue here shortly as the matches are going to be starting here. So hopefully we get this podcast up here very quickly and get you guys listening and ready for the day. So look forward to these, again, hopefully in these future episodes as well. And as the days move on here, I'll be joined by Z-Rock on top of this. But hopefully you enjoyed this, and look forward to seeing you on day number 2 recap taking place tomorrow. Enjoy TI7 once again. We'll see you guys tomorrow.